All right.
Yeah, you're all good.
Okay, we're good. Okay, my name is Russ Bartlett. I'm chairing the Historical Commission this year. We have a special meeting this evening. I hope we can quickly. We have Commissioners Lang, Zufonen, I hope you pronounce that correctly, Vice Chair David Moore, and Nomi Trapaniel is with us. So we have a little short agenda to go through, so I'll just get going here. Forum, so I can gavel with my virtual gavel, I can the meeting open. Items for consideration, we have the application for, I'm sorry? Okay. Historic alteration permit to relocate a pair of windows located along the right south elevation of a one-story historic landmark structure. We note our former colleague Walter Chapman is involved in this. I don't see him on board this evening, and applicant Virginia Richards is on board. So there's a quite a lengthy report that project description. We're going to be relocating 2 historic windows currently located upon the south elevation facing a front courtyard, shifted 18 inches along the existing wall face, etc. Quite a interesting write-up on the background of this, owned by Lucille Baxter, Lucille Lywer, a longtime resident. House was designed by architect Erwin Reichel, at the time draftsman. Historic landmark back in October of 2006, Mills Act property in 2016 by the commission and approved by the city council. Discussion includes a write-up of the character of the Spanish revival of architecture in the house. In order for the Historic Commission to complete its review and issue a decision, it must find that the work complies with the Historic Preservation Ordinance, does not adversely affect the physical integrity or the historic significance, and is in compliance with the Secretary of Interior standards for treatment of historic property. So there is a staff write-up that details this information. The standard 1 shall be used for historic purpose, be placed in a new use that requires minimal change to the defining characteristics of the building and its site. So the finding is that the proposed change encourages the continued historic use as a single family residence. Standard 2 talks about the historic character of the property shall be retained and preserved. And the staff report indicates that the proposed plan preserves the historic character of the house. Minor relocation and reuse of the wood system does not detract or diminish from the character of the house. Standard 3 changes that create a false sense of historical development, such as adding conjectural features, etc. Staff report indicates the minor relocation and reuse of the existing wood systems would not create a false sense of historic development. Standard 4, most properties change over time. Those changes that have acquired historic significance in their own right shall be retained and preserved. The house has, staff report indicates, the house has changed over the years. Installation of the pair of windows is an indication of the changes. The window location is not a character defining element, and relocating the windows will preserve the wood window systems while allowing a contemporary use of the space inside. And standard 5, distinctive features. Again, staff report indicates the house is in good condition. Distinctive features: front facade, windows, stucco, weathered patina of the Spanish tile roof will be preserved. Minor relocation of the windows preserves the wood window systems and does not degrade the style. Standard 6, deteriorated historic features shall be repaired rather than replaced. And report indicates windows appear to be in good condition. Reconstruction or replacement is not required. Standard 7, chemical or physical treatments such as sandblasting that cause damage shall not be used. And then the report indicates the specification is not part of the submission given to urban programmers. However, there is no need for harsh chemical or sandblasting for this building. Standard 8, significant archaeological resources affected by the project shall be protected and preserved. If such resources must be disturbed, mitigation measures must be undertaken. And report indicates the proposed window relocation does not involve excavation into the earth. Standard 9, new additions, alterations, related new constructions shall not destroy historic materials that characterize the property. Staff report, the proposed window relocation is not in addition. Standard 10, new additions or adjacent or related new construction shall be undertaken in such manner that if removed in the future, the essential form and integrity of the historical property and environment would be unimpaired. Report indicates the proposed window relocation is not in addition. The proposed exterior alterations to relocate the existing window systems do not adversely affect the physical integrity or historical significance of the property and are consistent with the Secretary of Interior standards. The minor exterior modifications to relocate the 2 windows will not harm or impact the defining elements of the landmark, nor impact physical integrity or historical significance of the subject property. Okay. So in order for the Historical Commission to make the findings to approve the permit, the Commission must find that the work complies with the Historic Preservation Ordinance, does not adversely affect the physical integrity or significance, and is in compliance with the Secretary of Interior's standards for the treatment of historic properties, attachment Delta. Once the Commission provides a recommendation, the project will be forwarded to the Community Development Director for consideration of the review application. Okay, and I see Long is on board. I think he's one of the applicants. Is that correct?
Hi, I'm Virginia. So I work with Walter Chapman,
Okay.
and we have 2 meetings this evening. So I'm doing this one and he's on the other one.
Walter's doing the other one.
So hi. Husband is trying to snap in here. So, and he's the homeowner.
Okay.
So to the chair, if it's possible, if we can do a very short staff presentation and then allow the applicant to provide any comments or presentation if they'd like.
Please go ahead.
So I really, you've covered most of my presentation, which I appreciate.
I think you may be muted, Sean.
Good. Here we go. So the report's very detailed, and that's intentional on my part. We haven't really received a lot of projects in the last year due to COVID, which has really impacted a lot of development and changes for historic properties. But I wanted to give an opportunity for the commission to see some of the things that they should be looking at in these reports. Typically, the standards aren't pulled into the staff report. They're provided as merely an attachment, but it's very important for the commission, as the chair has conveyed, that they do have to make the particular findings regarding whether the structure, the changes have adversely affected the physical integrity of the historic resource or landmark, and to make sure that complies with the Secretary of the Interior standards. The proposed location of it is whoop. The proposed windows will be revised in the interior courtyard in this location on the south side of the structure. These are the 2 locations of the windows in the dining room. And it does convey the location of the original windows and then where they'll be relocated to. The staff report does again kind of stipulate the findings you have to meet, and findings are provided to you with some evidence to support it, and plus you have the supporting information that's within the report as attachments. Secretary of the Interior standards kind of convey the particular standard that you have to comply with to make sure that the structure does not create an impact to the historic structure. In this particular case, they are retaining the existing windows, but in a situation where there is an addition, which we will have one in the future, then it probably won't be as simple, but we will have a similar discussion, which the commission can then review and potentially provide comment regarding the Secretary of the Interior's report. In this particular case, the report is a little bit more straightforward since there's no real change to the window style or pattern. It's merely a relocation of 18 inches to one side. And that really concludes Seth's presentation. And if the chair would like the applicant to speak, she's available to provide any comments or provide a presentation. Thank you.
Okay. Please go ahead as you wish, Mrs. Richards. You're muted.
Sorry about that. I think this is back from 2016 when maybe some of you, if you were part of the historical commission, that this house came in for a meeting in regards to them adding. So this is the second phase of their project. And you can see, you all have the floor plan. So all they're wanting to do is move the existing windows, like, you know, Sean said, 18 inches. So it's really not going to, you know, in our eyes, affect anything. And they're going to keep the windows because the windows are in very good condition. So they're not going to change the windows. They're going to keep the same size. The existing windows, just move them over.
Okay. Thank you. And any more questions to direct to Sean or the applicant?
I'm just curious, what's the rationale for moving them 18 inches?
Well, you can see if you look at the floor plan, it used to be a bedroom and they're going to change it into a dining room.
Okay.
So they're going to change it into a dining room and then there's going to be like a little wet bar. And so they just want to center the windows to where it matches when you're in the dining room looking out. It's more aesthetically pleasing, as well as if you were to look, if you were to stand outside, you're not going to notice the difference of the windows being moved because it's only 18 inches.
Okay. Yeah. Somehow I missed where this house is located.
571 Cherry.
Okay, Cherry.
Right near Pine.
Huh?
Near Pine.
Yeah. Nice area.
Okay. Any further questions for the applicants or for Sean from the commissioners? Any more discussion that we would like to have with the commission?
To the chair is I don't believe there is, but is there anyone available for public comment? I don't believe there is anyone.
I haven't seen any.
Yeah,
any
we
of our-
don't. Yeah, we have no one for public comment. I just wanted to make sure it's in the record. Thank you.
Right. Okay. Right. So any further discussions?
Can I make a motion that we
Please.
approve it?
Yes.
So moved and seconded.
Second.
So we have a motion to approve the application for 571 Cherry. All in favor, say aye.
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 Me too.
We counted you, but we can't count you quite yet.
I know, I'm just teasing.
All right. Okay.
And-
So
and
5,
Could I
Go
just
ahead.
comment before we move on that I know that these kind of things add a bit of burden to the homeowner to have to come to meetings like this and get this approval. And so thank you for your commitment to preserving the historical character of the house. We, as the community, really appreciate you making the effort and safeguarding this beautiful house in Los Altos. So thanks for taking the extra step. We appreciate it, and hopefully that wasn't too painful.
No, and thank you for taking the time to do the special meeting because we were concerned we were going to have to wait till the end of June. So thank you, everybody, for making this special meeting and taking the time to do this. Thank you.
Yeah, this is the homeowner. I really appreciate your effort taking the time to review my application. I really appreciate.
Yeah, this is a really special house. We love this house.
Good. Thank you very much for taking such good care of it.
Thank you.
Yeah, we're delighted to hold a special meeting because we know once you get into a remodel, time is money, and we don't want you to sit idling for another cycle to approve. So we're happy to convene this and approve. So anyway,
Thank you.
Approved. And then I guess we can move forward with our agenda. We have some informational items to review quickly, and then we'll be done.
Am I excused?
Yeah.
Okay.
You're welcome to stay. I mean, you're.
No, consider yourself kicked out.
Well, I have to go do the dishes now, so,
Yeah,
you
okay.
know.
And best regards to Walter.
Okay, thank you
Yes.
very much. And thank you for taking the time. I really appreciate it.
You're very welcome. Thank you for
Thanks, Sean.
taking such good care. Thanks.
Thanks.
So the first item, Margaret Thompson essay contest. So staff is very behind. We need to post this online. We're tremendously understaffed at the moment. And so I need to work to get this online this week. We do have winners. They need to be posted online. Staff does need to request the checks. None of that's been done yet. My managers are aware. We just are 50% staffing at the moment, and we're just trying to struggle through right now until our new staff member comes on in June. So I apologize for that. I will have more information at the next meeting. In regards to, were there any questions, I guess, regarding? No.
I guess
Okay.
question, Sean, I know it's probably the answer is no, but is anything a volunteer can do? Is posting on the web, or do you have to be certified web poster?
No, you know what? I mean, what needs to be done is really just to send emails out to the schools and get letters out to the parents. And I have like template letters that I use from the year, and I have their mailing information, and I think we even have their email addresses. So if a commissioner wants to email them, email and notify the winners, then that would be wonderful, and email the schools, because I can give you their emails of each of the schools, and I believe emails of each of the winners, and that just needs to be sent out. This just staff has time at the moment, I'm sorry to say.
But the trouble is you would have to have the time to forward those letters and addresses.
Yeah, I mean, I had hoped last week I'd had the time. That didn't happen. But I do believe by Wednesday, Thursday, I should have an opening, and our admin for the planning division should be able to help me. So she's volunteered to help me. I just have to get the letter together and separate all of the essays, because the essays were bound in one single email. So I have to separate all of them and then individually scan them. So
Doesn't sound like you gained that much.
yeah, no, and normally it's easier, but you know, the two staff members are doing the work of four, so we're kind of a little overwhelmed at the moment. But that will change. We have a new staff planner coming in June, and our one planner who's been on maternity leave hopefully should be coming back full time next month. So things should hopefully return to normal. And so timeline should improve. In regards to the Halsey House, so at the last council meeting on the 25th, the council reviewed, May 25th, the council reviewed a proposal for a Halsey House consultant, series of proposals for consultants, one from Architectural Resource Group, one from David J. Powers and Associates, and Page and Turnbull. The Architectural Resource Group, which was for $18,890, was intended for a development of process and overall costs of each of the options. The options, I believe, being rehabilitation and adaptive reuse, mothballing, demolition, and then there is a third one, which is, I can't remember for some reason.
Continuing to do nothing.
Yeah, I hope not. That would be mothballing.
No, mothballing is an expensive way to do that.
Yeah, there's rehabilitation, adaptive reuse, there's mothballing, there's demolition, and then there's demolition with like adaptive reuse alternatives. So that was a proposal for ARG. David J. Powers was hired or recommended for environmental services, so they will provide us a breakdown. of, again, the processes and the overall cost and that are required for each of the 4 alternatives. And then Page and Turnbull would be doing a historic resource evaluation on the property. And they would be providing a diagram kind of indicating which parts of the Halsey House are the primary historical elements, secondary historical features, and the non-contributory features of the historic structure, and that'll be part of a HRE that will be provided. Council did agree at the meeting to approve the allocation of park and lieu fee to pay for this. And so we should have, it should take about 2 weeks for the contracts to be signed. And then within 4 to 6 weeks, we should have the reports back. Once we have the reports back, we will be returning back to council for a study session. After we get their direction, we'll return to each of the commissions. So we're looking at probably 3 months out when we'll be back. 3 to 4 months at the most, we'll be back to Park and Rec, Historical, and Finance Commission. And that'll be an opportunity at that point for Historical to provide direction on which of the options they'll recommend. Okay, so that'll be coming up in the next 3 months probably. And the expectation, at least for council, is to give very clear policy direction and to make a decision on this, to make a definitive kind of decision on how they're going to move forward on it.
So the options will have costs associated with them?
Yes, they will. So the plan is to provide a breakdown of the overall process that's going to be required, each of the particular steps that are required, provide the overall scope of it, provide a cost estimator, so provide a breakdown of the cost. So if they chose rehabilitation, we have, based on our previous report, that was based on particularly $3 or $4 million. So it'll provide us an updated cost on the full cost of rehabilitation. It'll provide us the overall cost for mothballing, and it'll provide us all the other costs for each of the other options. And so that'll be provided to you so you can make a well-informed decision. But that's part of the central reason why this has been somewhat delayed, because as the Park and Rec Commission reviewed the proposal for Halsey House, there was a belief, at least from staff and from council, that there was a lack of information available for the Park and Rec Commission to make an informed decision. And so all of this information should allow for a very well-informed decision that can be defensible if we do move down the path of demolition. If you go back to the council report, there is a legal memorandum that was provided by the city attorney, and it does talk about the implications of demolition and the legal consequences of that. And so this information is necessary to support the decision-making process so that we can be in a very strong, defensible legal position, whatever direction we take. And the environmental documents, the legal information, all of those cost information will provide us that support so we can make an informed decision.
What, is this anything online that we can look at now?
Yes, if you go to the city council report for May 25th, there's an agenda report and I believe attachments. And if you need anything from me, I can forward you all of the reports if you'd like. Would you like me to forward that to you? I could forward you the attachments. Yeah, I could do that. That's easy. I have it all right here.
What time of night was this presented? I was online until I finally fell asleep.
It was pretty early that night.
Oh, it was early, okay.
Yeah. I mean, that council meeting went on until 2 in the morning, but
I know.
the theatrical stuff happened later.
So I will send each of you the ARG report, Page and Turnbull, the David J. Powers. I'll give you each of those scopes, and then I will send you the staff report. So you'll have all that information initially, and that's what they voted on. Okay, so I'll have that so you can have it for background.
There's Margot.
At that same meeting, Elizabeth also gave a readout on what's going on at the History Museum, if you want to go back and look at the video of it.
Yeah, I couldn't do it early, so I logged in a bit later, and all I heard was, you know, the usual ranting and raving by all
Yeah,
the people.
What happened before that?
The next item was the Historic Preservation Award. So that was presented on the 25th, and the recipient was there, Daniel, and so staff provided a brief discussion. The mayor discussed the overall basis for it, and then the applicant actually, I had advised him maybe you should have a little presentation available for him. So he provided kind of a photo display of the changes of the structure from the beginning to its current form. So it was very helpful for council to see, besides merely the proclamation, to kind of see the basis for why the commission recognized this particular structure. And so, you know, after the meeting, the very next day, staff received a whole series of emails from some of the council members that were very that wanted to acknowledge to the commissioners that their appreciation for a lot of their hard work on getting this project to move forward. And that was particularly from Councilmember Enender, that she wanted to make sure that she acknowledged that both the hard work that staff put in, but also the hard work that the commissioners have put in, and that the council appreciates the work that's been done to preserve these type of structures. So that was conveyed. I can always pass along that email also. And that is really the informational items from now. I do have a 151 Hawthorne that they're putting together a proposal for potential Mills Act, and they're putting together a proposal for rehabilitation and an addition to the structure. That may be either later this year. So they've been talking to me about that. So we do have a structure that may be coming down the pike, hopefully by the end of this year.
Okay.
That's really it. Thank you.
Okay. Do we have any reports and comments from the commission? Barry, please.
I just want to bring people's attention. Perhaps some people heard about it or even participated, but on May 13th, the History Museum hosted a Zoom presentation about historic preservation through the Mills Act. And it was a very well organized. In particular, Mr. Gallegos did a great job explaining the background of the Mills Act and sharing that information. And there were three homeowners who are under the Mills Act who also spoke about their process and the sort of win-win between the city and those homeowners to be able to do that. That is now available on the History Museum's YouTube channel. So if you ever have anybody who is curious about the Mills Act, I definitely recommend it as a resource to point them to, because it really, you know, is an hour well spent in terms of both hearing the sort of rules and background, as well as hearing about three people who used it. So that was a really good thing. And Sean, particularly given how busy you all have been, appreciate you taking the time to do that. And I know many of the homeowners also appreciated the work you put in to help them get those through. So thanks for that.
It was a very good presentation, and I, for one, didn't know about the connection to the Hotel Coronado in San Diego. Very, very interesting. Anything for potential future agenda items? We kind of have a little overhanging remnant from meetings past about historic trees and groves. I think we will want to be, you know, pushing on that a little bit next time we meet. Anything else from any of my colleagues?
Can I ask a question? I have a question.
Yes, please.
Yes, so I think this is for Sean. A while back, it's not exactly a Mills Act question, but if there's a property that I particularly think would be good to have on the historic resources inventory and maybe a Mills Act, the last time we checked in, you said that it took funding from council to bring a property in, and I wondered if that's still the case.
So there either has to be either funding within the department's budget or funding from the city executive team's budget or dedicated funding in the budget from council. And I don't believe that the community development department at this time really has funding available since they've had to do cuts in over this last year. So I can always check to see if they could find it. I know we found funding for one historic property previously, but that was based on council involvement and the city manager agreeing to provide some funding. So there would have to be council involvement that usually directs it, and then many times then the administration can find it sometimes. Not a guarantee.
So just to put something on the historic resources inventory takes funding, just to have it listed.
Well, you have to have so we have to have a professional. It doesn't have to always be a historian, but someone who's qualified to prepare the report. You know, for instance, we've, I think, had Elizabeth Ward write a report before for the windmill at J. Gilbert Smith House, and we've had the previous executive director write reports, and we've had the deputy director write reports there. So if somebody is qualified and can write a report at no cost, then you can move it forward. And so usually that's either someone who has training, you know, in library studies or in historical studies, or has a PhD like Elizabeth does, or has backgrounds in architecture or architectural history or history, can many times qualify, and there are particular parameters from the federal government regarding those parameters. So if you can find someone that can write that, then as long as they can meet the particular requirements, then there doesn't have to be a cost.
Okay, well, perhaps I'll talk about this. I'll communicate with you directly further, Sean. Thank you very much.
Yeah, that would be great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other potential future items? Hearing none, do we have a motion for adjournment?
Sure.
Glad I made it.
Commissioner Lang? Motion. Nomi, did you second, Nomi?
Yes, I second.
Okay. All right. So move. So Larry, please.
I'm getting ready to vote yes.
Okay. All in favor, vote aye. Yes.
Aye.
Aye, 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 aye.
And I'm just about out of time tonight, so very good time.
Their next meeting, are we going back to the usual?
In person?
Yeah, well, no, anytime. When is the next historical commission meeting? It would be, I guess,
It would be
July.
June. It'd be-
July. Do we have one in July?
Yes, we typically, I mean, we have nothing on the agenda for June at the moment unless the commission wanted to hold an item. You know, traditionally in the past, I mean, in the previous, you know, from about 2012 to about 2015, similar to council, the historical commission didn't have items during its summertime. Many times they would close for the summer and then they'd reopen in August, September. So you may have that opportunity again, just unintentionally, because we may not have the items. So right now we have no items. We're not planning to potentially hold an agenda, but I will check with the chair to see if there's any particular items he would like to have the meeting for.
Okay.
Okay.
Very good.
Okay. Thanks, everyone.
Night,
Thank you very
everyone.
much.
Nice to see you.
Good night, everyone.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks.
Thanks. Sorry I was late.